Hi everyone, myself Dr. P. Soumya, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering College. In this session, I am going to discuss about global environmental problems and global efforts. So, in this session, I am going to cover the topics climate change. So, what are the effects of climate change? What is the impacts on environment and ozone depletion, causes and effects of ozone depletion, causes and effects of deforestation, and causes and effects of desertification. So here climate change. So the average weather of particular place, it is called as climate. So what is climate? It is the average weather of particular place. So that is called as climate. So the Earth's climate, it is changing dramatically because of human interference. So we know that the Earth's climate, it is changing day by day because of human activities, human interference. So the climate, it is influenced directly by temperature and other meteorological conditions such as wind, precipitation, and glaciation. So this climate, it is influenced by directly by temperature and other meteorological conditions, so such as wind, precipitation, and glaciation. The long-term variation in temperature, it is a major cause of climatic change in environment. So the long term variation of it is in temperature. So that is a major cause of climate change in environment. So here the climate change and other environmental issues are, so these are interlinked with each other. So the climate change disease depends upon the stratospheric ozone depletion, desertification, and biodiversity, forestry, air quality, and water. So these are interlinked with each other. The stratospheric ozone depletion and desertification, biodiversity, forestry, air quality, water. So these are interlinked with each other. So these are interlinked to the climate change. So the climate change, this will affect the ability of ecological systems to provide essential ecological goods and services. So this climate, it is the average weather of an area. So this climate, the climate is it is an average weather of an area, specific area. So it is general. It is general weather conditions, seasonal variations, extremes of weather in a region. So it includes general weather conditions, seasonal variations, extremes of weather. So in a specific region. So such conditions which average over a long period of at least 30 years. So this is called as climate. So this is the average weather of area. So here it includes the conditions, weather conditions, seasonal variations, and also extremes of weather in a specific region. Thus, the such conditions, so which average over a long period, at least 30 years. So this is called as climate. So this is the average over a long period of 30 years. So this is called as climate. So the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, that is IPCC, in 1992 published the best available evidence about plastic climate change, the greenhouse effect, and the recent changes in global temperature. So they have published best available evidence about past climate change, greenhouse effect, and recent changes in global temperatures. So it is observed that the Earth's temperature has changed considerably during the geological times. So it has experienced several glacial and interglacial periods. And however, during the best 10,000 years of current interglacial period, the mean average temperature has fluctuated by zero point 0.5 to 1 degree centigrade over 100 to 200 year of period. So over 100 to 200 year of period, so the mean average temperature that is has fluctuated in between 0.5 to 1 degree centigrade. So we have relatively stable climate for thousands of years. So that's why we have relatively stable climate for thousands of years, due to which we have practiced agriculture and increased in population. So this is used for the increasing population and also best agriculture practices. So even small changes in climatic conditions, so this may disturb the agriculture and also other environment. So that would lead to migration of animals, including humans. So even small changes in temperature and different conditions, that climatic conditions, this may disturb the environment as well as the agriculture. So this would lead to migration of animals as well as human beings. So here anthropogenic, that is man-made activities, so these are upsetting the delicate balance that has been established between various components of the environment. So the man-made activities are, so these are upsetting the balance between these established between the various components of environment. We have various components in environment. So these are affected by the man-made things, man-made activities. So greenhouse gases, so these are increasing in temperature in the atmosphere, resulting in increase in the average global temperature. So because of greenhouse gases, the greenhouse gases emissions are increasing day by day in atmospheres. These resulting in increase in the temperature, that is average global temperature. So this is called as global warming. So this may upset the hydrological cycle, result in floods and droughts in different regions of the world. So this causes sea level rise and changes in agricultural productivity and famines and death of humans as well as livestock. So the due to greenhouse gas emissions, the average global temperature is increasing. This is called global warming. So this may upset the hydrological cycle, and this will result in the floods and droughts in many various regions in the world, and these will cause the sea level rise and change in the agricultural productivity and also death of human as well as livestock. So the global change in temperature, so this will not be uniform everywhere and will fluctuate in different regions. So the global change in temperature, so this will not be uniform everywhere. So this is depends on different regions. This will be fluctuate. It is in different regions. The places at higher latitudes, so these will be warmed up more during late autumn and winter than the places in tropics. The places at higher latitudes will be warmed up more during late autumn and winter than the places in tropics. So the poles may experience 2 to 3 times more warming than the global average. So the poles, these will experience 2 to 3 times of more warming than global average. So while warming in tropics may be only 50 to 100% on an average. So the increased warming at poles will reduce the thermal gradient between the equator and the high latitude regions, decreasing the energy available to heat the engine, so that drives the global weather machine. So this will disturb the global pattern of winds and ocean currents as well as the timing and distribution of rainfall. So this will reduce the poles, the may experience 2 to 3 times of more warming than global average. So this will disturb the global pattern of winds and ocean currents as well as the timing and distribution of rainfall. So shifting of ocean currents may change the climate of Ireland and Britain and may result in cooling at a time when rest of the world warms. So by a temperature increasing of 1.5 to 4.5 degrees centigrade, the global hydrological cycle, it is expected to intensify by 5 to 10 percentage. So by the temperature increasing temperature of 1.5 to 4.5 degrees, so the global hydrological cycle, it is expected to intensify by 5 to 10%. So disturbed rainfall, this will result in some areas becoming wetter and others are drier. So although rainfall may increase higher temperature and it will result in more evapotranspiration, so this leading to annual water deficit in crop yields. So, what are the impact of climate change? What are the impacts of climate change on environment? So, impact on environment, the enhanced greenhouse effect. The enhanced greenhouse effect, this will not only cause global warming but will also affect various other climatic and natural processes. So the enhanced greenhouse effect, this will not cause global warming, but this will also affect various and other climatic and natural processes. So first one is global temperature increase. So it is estimated that the Earth's mean temperature will rise between 1.5 to 5.5 degrees centigrade by 2050 if input of greenhouse gases continues to rise at the present rate. So if the greenhouse the input of greenhouse gases, it will continues to rise at the present rate. So the estimated earth mean temperature that will rise between 1.5 to 4.5 degrees centigrade, 5.5 degree centigrade by 2050. So even at lower value, earth would be warmer than it has been for 10,000 years. Second is rise in sea level. So here with the increasing global temperature, sea water will expand and heating will melt the polar ice sheets and glaciers, resulting in further rise in sea level. So with increasing global temperature, sea water will expand and heating will melt the polar ice sheets and the glaciers, resulting in further rise in sea level. So the current models indicate that an increasing an average atmospheric temperature of 3 degrees centigrade, this would raise the average global sea level, that is by zero point 0.2 to 1.5 meters over the next 50 to 100 years. So here in the average atmospheric temperature of 3 degrees centigrade, this would raise the average global sea level to zero point 0.2 to 1.5 meters over the next 50 to 100 years. 1 meter rise in sea level, it will inundate low-lying areas of cities like Shanghai, Cairo, Bangkok, Sydney, Hamburg, and Vienna, Venice, as well as agriculture lowlands and deltas in Egypt, Bangladesh, India, and China. So these all countries will affect rice productivity. So because of sea rise level, so all the countries which are nearby ocean and seas, so this will affect the rice productivity. So this will also disturb many commercially important spawning grounds and would probably increase the frequency of storm damage to lagoons, estuaries, and coral reefs. So in India, the Lakshadweep island with a maximum height of 4 meters above the sea level, so it may be vulnerable. So in India, we are having Lakshadweep island. So in that Lakshadweep island with a maximum height of 4 meters it above the sea level, so it is maybe vulnerable. So some of the most beautiful cities like Mumbai may be saved by heavy investment on embankment to prevent inundation. So, life of millions of people will be affected by sea level rise who have built homes in the deltas of the Ganges and Nile and Mekong and also other rivers, Mississippi rivers. So, this is effects on human health. The global warming, it will lead to changes in the rainfall pattern in many areas. So the global warming, it will lead to changes in rainfall pattern. So rainfall pattern, it is very important. Due to global warming, the pattern of rainfall, it may changes in many areas. So thereby affecting the distribution of vector-borne diseases like malaria and elephantiasis, so this etc. elephantiasis, and etc. So area which is presently free from diseases like malaria and other diseases, etc. So these may become breeding grounds for the vectors of such diseases. So here, due to global warming, so because of a pattern, the changes will take place in pattern of rainfall. Due to that, the vector-borne diseases will spread in various regions. So here the areas likely to be affected in this manner are Ethiopia, Kenya, and Indonesia. So warmer temperature and more water stagnation would favor the breeding of mosquitoes, snails, and some insects. So which are the vectors of such diseases? And the higher temperature and humidity will increase or aggravate respiratory and skin disease. So this will this is the effect of human health, effect of global warming on human health. So effects on agriculture. So there are different views regarding the effect of global warming on agriculture. So it may show positive or negative effects on various types of crops in different regions of the world. So tropical and subtropical regions will be more affected since the average temperature in these regions is already on higher side. So even rise of 2 degrees centigrade, rise or 2 degrees centigrade may be quite harmful to the soil crops. The soil moisture, this will decrease, and evapotranspiration, this will increase, which may drastically affect the wheat and maize production. So the temperature increase, so in this climate, this will affect the agriculture. So due to this soil moisture, this will decreases in the soil, and evapotranspiration, it will increase. So this may drastically affect the wheat and maize production. So increase in temperature and humidity, it will increase pest growth like the growth of vectors of various diseases, and pest will adapt to such changes better than crops. So by using increase in temperature, the humidity also the humidity will increase pest growth like growth of vectors of various diseases. So this pest will adapt to the climate changes so better than the crops. To cope up with the changing situation, drought resistant, heat resistant, and pest resistant varieties of crops have to be developed. So next one is next global problem is environmental problem is ozone depletion, that is ozone depleting substances. Ozone depletion is one more problem, that is a global environmental problem. So this is for the last 450 million years, the earth has had a natural sunscreen in the stratosphere called ozone layer. We know that. So this is one layer that is protecting protecting human and all the living things from the direct sunlight. So here this is used as we have earth has a natural sunscreen in the stratosphere that is called as a layer. That layer is ozone layer. The ozone in a stratosphere, it protects life on the earth from the dangerous UV radiation from the sun. So this stratosphere, so the ozone in the stratosphere, this can protects the life on the earth from the dangerous UV radiation from the sun. So here, this ozone, it is a highly poisonous gas with a strong odor. So generally, the ozone, this is a gas, this is a poisonous gas with a strong odor. So the ozone, it is a form of oxygen. The molecule of oxygen contains two atoms, whereas the ozone contains three atoms. So we know that the molecule of oxygen contains two oxygen atoms. Ozone contains three oxygen atoms. So it is form of oxygen. So that has three atoms in each molecule. So in the stratosphere, ozone, it is continuously being created by the absorption of short wavelength ultraviolet radiation. So in a stratosphere, the ozone, it will continuously being produced by the absorption of short wavelength of UV radiation. So the UV radiation, it is less than 242 nanometers. So this decomposes molecular oxygen into atomic oxygen, so by photolytic decomposition. So here in stratosphere, this oxygen, so the oxygen, it is converted into oxygen atoms by using short wavelength UV radiation, that is 242 nanometer. So this is decomposes that molecular oxygen into atomic oxygens. So these atomic oxygen, this rapidly reacts with molecular oxygen. This atomic oxygen, then it is rapidly reacted with oxygen, molecular oxygen, and it will form O3. So that is the molecule which is having three oxygen atoms, that is called as ozone. So here it is the M is the third body necessary to carry away the energy released in the reaction. So this is the formation of ozone in the stratosphere. So the ozone thus formed, it distributes itself in the stratosphere, and it absorbs the ultraviolet radiations 200 to 320 nanometer, and it continuously being converted back into molecular oxygen. So here in the stratosphere we are having ozone. This will treated with this will absorb photolytic radiation, that is ultraviolet radiation, in between 200 to 320 nanometers continuously, and this will convert into O3. It will convert into O2. O3 it is will convert into O2 and elemental oxygen, that is atomic oxygen. So this absorption of UV radiation, it results in heating of atmosphere. So the absorption of UV radiation, it will results in heating of atmosphere. So here by this ozone is converted into oxygen and O. So by this absorption of UV radiation, it results by the earth. So it will results in the increase in temperature, that is heating of the atmosphere. So that net result of above reactions, it is in equilibrium concentration of ozone. So the ozone concentration, it is about 24 kilometers of the stratosphere, that is from 16 kilometers to 40 kilometers away from the earth. It is about 10 ppm. So here the equilibrium, it is distributed by reactive atoms of chlorine, bromine, which destroy ozone molecules and result in thinning of ozone layer and called ozone hole. So here this ozone layer, this is destroyed by using chlorine and bromine gases. These will the chlorine and bromine, these are more reactive atoms. These will destroy the ozone molecules, and this will results in the thinning of ozone layer, that is called as ozone hole. So in the 1970s, scientists discovered that the chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons, that is CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, so which were used as refrigerants and aerosol spray propellants, and these are posed a threat to a ozone layer. So the chlorofluorocarbons, which are used in refrigerators and aerosol spray propellants, so these are used as a these are posed a threat to the ozone layer. These are destroying the ozone layer. So here the chlorine atoms so react with ozone molecules with breakdown into oxygen molecules, so which do not absorb UV radiation. So here the chlorine atoms, the chlorine radicals, these will react with ozone, and these will form ClO and oxygen. So the oxygen, this will not absorb any UV radiation. The only ozone will absorb the UV radiation. This ClO again, this will treated with oxygen O, that is an elemental oxygen, and it will form chlorine and oxygen. So here net reaction, this is ozone, this is reacting with this is ozone plus oxygen, so that is elemental oxygen. So we are getting two oxygen molecules, means here depletion of oxygen layer is taking place, so destruction of ozone layer is taking place. Since the early 1980s, scientists detected a thinning of ozone layer in the atmosphere above the Antarctica. Since the early 1980s, scientists detected that the thinning of ozone layer in the atmosphere above the Antarctica. So this is called as depletion of ozone layer. So, which gases are used for the destroying the ozone layer in the atmosphere? So, the gases causes depletion of ozone in atmosphere. So, these are first gases. These are chlorofluorocarbons. These are primary sources of principal sources of chlorofluorocarbons are refrigerants in refrigerators and aerosol spray propellants. Next, hydrochlorofluorocarbons. So, first gas is chlorofluorocarbon, second gas is hydrochlorofluorocarbon. So, this is also used as a refrigerant and blowing agents, air conditioners. So here next bromofluorocarbons. So this is used in fire extinguishers and primary source is that principal source is fire extinguishers. Nitric oxide. So these are detonation of nuclear weapons and nitrogenous fertilizers. These are the sources of nitrogen oxide. So gases chlorofluorocarbons, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, bromofluorocarbons and nitric oxide. So these gases are causing the depletion of ozone in the atmosphere. Measurement of ozone. So the units are Dobson units. So the amount of atmospheric ozone, it is measured by Dobson spectrometer. So it is expressed in Dobson units, that is DU. So here 1 DU equal to zero point 0.01 millimeter thickness of pure ozone at the density it would possess if it were brought to ground level 1 atmospheric pressure. So here we can measure the ozone that is using Dobson unit. So here 1 Dobson unit equal to 0.01 millimeter thickness of pure ozone. So here what are the impacts of ozone layer depletion in different environment? So here effects of the ozone layer depletion on human health. So it is considered as a pollutant at ground level and it constitutes a health hazard by causing respiratory ailments like asthma and bronchitis. So the ozone layer depletion, it leads to the it causing the respiratory ailments like asthma and bronchitis. So UV rays damage the genetic material in skin causing cancer. So the UV the UV rays, this will cause the skin cancer. So here the prolonged exposure of UV rays, this may cause blindness. And also human resistivity, it is reduced, resulting in allergies and infections. So UV rays, uh, this damages genetic material in skin causing skin cancer, and it may cause blindness, and also the UV light that is reduces the human resistivity, the resistance is reduced, resulting in allergies and infections takes place. So effects of ozone layer depletion on aquatic system. So here phytoplanktons. So these are very sensitive to UV exposure. Ozone depletion. So this will result in decrease in their population and thereby affecting the population of zooplankton and fish and whole aquatic food chain. So this is the effect of ozone layer depletion on aquatic system. So here effects of depletion of ozone layer on climate. So this yield of vital crops like corn, rice, soya bean, cotton, bean, pea and wheat, this will decreases. So yields of vital crops like corn, rice, soya bean and wheat. So and also cotton, bean, so peas, these all also the yields are decreases. What is next problem is deforestation. So deforestation, this is the forest area of the world in 1900 was estimated to be 7,000 million hectares. So which was reduced to 2,890 million hectares in 1975. So, and this was fell down in just 23 to 2,300 million hectares by 2000. So means by year, so by decades, these hectares, the area of forest is decreasing gradually. So global efforts, this area is increased to 4,033 million hectares in 2010. So due to global efforts, this area it is increased to 4,033 million in hectares in 2010. The reforestation rate, it is relatively less in temperate countries. So, but it is very alarming in tropical countries where at high as 40 to 50%, and at the present rate, it is estimated so that what in the next 60 years, so we would lose more than 90% of our tropical forest. So in next 60 years, so we would lose more than 90% of our tropical forest. So the forested area in India, it is seems to have stabilized since 1982. So with about 0.04 percentage. So these declined annually between 1982 to 90. So FAO, that is 1983, estimated that about 1.44 million hectares of land was brought under afforestation during this period, leading to the stabilization. So if you estimated that about 1.44 million hectares of land was brought under afforestation during this period, so leading to the stabilization. As per FAO estimates, so the major tropical countries, despite the fact that we have a huge population size and very low per capita forest area, so that is about 0.075 hectare per capita. So, however, we are still far behind the target of achieving 33% of forest area as per our national forest policy. So, despite increasing awareness of importance of forest, so deforestation rates are continue to increase. So each day about 32,300 hectares of forest disappear from the earth. So and other 32,300 hectares of forest, so this is suffers from degradation. So each day about 32,300 hectares of forest it is disappeared from the earth, and another 32,300 hectares of forest, this is suffers from the degradation. So during 2000 to 2005, the tropical deforestation rate has increased by 8.5% as compared to 1990s deforestation rates. So the loss of primary forest it has increased by alarming 25%. So the loss of primary forest this has increased by alarming 25%. So further the primary forests are being replaced by plantations with much less biodiversity. So the further primary forests are being replaced by plantations with much less biodiversity. So what are the major causes of deforestation? So shifting cultivation, it is a major causes of deforestation. This is there are an estimated 300 million people living as shifting cultivators who practice slash and burn agriculture. So, and these are supposed to clear more than 5 lakh hectares of forest for shifting cultivation annually. So here the shifting cultivation, it is a major cause of deforestation. So there are an estimated 300 million people living as shifting cultivators. So who practice slash and burn agriculture, and these are supposed to clear more than 5 lakh hectares of forest for shifting cultivation annually. So in India, we have this practice in Northeast and to some extent in Andhra Pradesh, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh, which contribute to nearly half of the forest clearing annually. So fuel requirements. Next cause is fuel requirements. Increasing demands for fuel wood by the increasing demands for fuel wood by the growing population in India alone has shot up to 300 to 500 million tons in 2001 as compared to just 65 million tons during independence, so thereby increasing pressure on the forest. So second reason is fuel requirements. Increasing population, it demands the fuel requirements. So that is fuel wood requirements. And this is the next one is raw materials for industrial use. Wood for making boxes, furniture, railway sleepers, plywood, matchboxes, pulp for paper industry have exerted tremendous pressure on forest. So raw materials for industrial use. We are using the wood as raw materials for industrial use. So these are used for making boxes, furniture, railway sleepers, plywood and matchboxes, and also these pulp of trees. These are used for the paper industry and the production of papers. So the plywood, it is in great demand for packing tea and for tea industry. The plywood, it is in great demand for packing tea for tea industry of Assam, while uh, fi- tree wood and so this is exploited greatly for packing apples in Jammu and Kashmir. So next cause is development of projects. Massive destruction of forest occur for various developments of projects like hydroelectric projects, big dams, road construction, and mining, etc. So these development due to this development of projects, so here the destruction of forest is taking place. So the destruction of forest, this can occur by various development of projects like hydraulic projects, big dams, road construction, and also mining projects. And also growing food needs. In developing countries, this is the main reason for deforestation. So to meet the demands of rapidly growing population, agriculture lands. So these agriculture lands and settlements. So these are created permanently by clearing of forests. So next cause is overgrazing. The poor in tropics mainly rely on wood as a source of fuel, leading to loss of tree cover, and the cleared lands are turned into grazing lands. So that overgrazing is also one of the main reason of deforestation. Overgrazing by the cattle leads to the further degradation of these lands. Overgrazing by cattle, this will lead to the further degradation of these lands. So next, forest fires. This may be by natural or man-made and cause this will cause huge forest loss. So because this forest fire, it is also causes deforestation. This is the main cause. This is the very dangerous. This is the main cause of deforestation. What are the consequences of deforestation? So deforestation, it has far reaching consequences which may be outlined as follows. It threatens the existence of many wildlife species due to destruction of their natural habitat. Biodiversity, it is lost by, and along with the genetic diversity, it is eroded. Hydrological cycle, it gets affected, thereby influencing rainfall. Problems of soil erosion takes place, and also soil problems of soil erosion and loss of soil fertility increases. So here hydrological cycle, that is gets affected, and also that will influence the rainfall, and also the problems of soil erosion and loss of soil fertility, it will increases because of deforestation. And in hilly areas, it often leads to landslides. So in hill areas, the deforestation, it leads to the landslides. More carbon, it is added to the atmosphere. So and global warming also enhanced because of the deforestation. So more carbon dioxide, more carbon, it is added to the atmosphere. So and these global warming, it is increased by the deforestation. So, what is desertification? Desertification, it is a process whereby the productive potential of arid and or semi-arid lands falls by 10% or more. So here Moderate desertification, it is 10 to 25% drop in productivity. So severe desertification causes 25 to 50% drop. So while very severe desertification, it results in more than 50% drop in productivity. So and usually it creates huge gullies and also sand dunes. So moderate desertification, it is to be 10 to 25% drop in productivity. So severe desertification, that is a drop in 25 to 50% drop of productivity. So here very severe desertification, this results in more than 50% drop in productivity, and these will create huge gullies and also sand dunes. So these desertification leads to the conversion of rangelands or irrigated croplands to the deserts-like conditions in which agricultural productivity falls. So this desertification, it is characterized by devegetation and loss of vegetal cover, and also depletion of groundwater, salinization and severe soil erosion. So this is characterized by devegetation and loss of vegetal cover, depletion of groundwater, salinization and severe soil erosion. This desertification, it is not a literal invasion of desert into another desert area, and it includes degradation of ecosystems within well as outside the natural deserts. The Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts, so these are about a million years old. They have become more barren. So during the last 100 years. So these deserts are very old, but they have become more barren during the last 100 years. So further desertification, it has taken place within the desert. So that's why the further desertification, it has taken place within the desert. So what are the causes of desertification? So here formation of deserts may take place due to natural phenomena like climate change, or maybe due to abusive use of land. So this is because of climate change, or it may be due to abusive use of land. So even the climate change, it is linked in many ways to human activities. So the major anthropogenic activities responsible for deforestation as well as these are as follows. So here deforestation, so it is a cause of desertification. So the process of denuding and degrading a forested land initiates a desert producing cycle that feeds on itself. Since there is no vegetation to hold back the surface runoff, water drains off quickly before it can soak into the soil and to nourish the plants or to replenish the groundwater. So here, due to deforestation, there is no vegetation to hold back the surface of the soil runoff, and also water drains off quickly before it can soak into the soil to nourish the plants or to replenish the groundwater. So this increases soil erosion, loss of fertility and loss of water. So this increases the soil erosion, loss of fertility of soil and also loss of water in the soil. So overgrazing is the one more reason for the cause for the desertification. The regions most seriously affected by the desertifications, the overgrazing lands are the affected by desertifications. These are the cattle producing areas of the world. The cattle producing areas of the world, these are the seriously affected by the desertification. So this is the because of increasing cattle populations heavily, and they graze in grasslands or forest, and as a result these will result denude the land area. So here when the earth is denuded, so here the microclimate, it is near the ground becomes inhospitable to the seed germination. So here when this is earth is denuded, the microclimate, it is near the ground becomes it inhospitable to the seed germination. So because of this, the desertification is taking place. So the dry barren land becomes loose and more prone to the soil erosion. So the dry barren land, it will becomes loose and this is more prone to the soil erosion. and the top fertile layer it is also lost, and also that thus the plant growth it is badly hampered in such soils. So because of the fertile layer is lost by the grazing, thus the plant growth it is badly affected by the such soils. So here the dry barren land it reflects more of the sun's heat. So the dry barren land this reflects more sun's heat, and these changing wind patterns driving away moisture laden clouds and leading to the further desertification. So overgrazing, so this is leading to the desertification of the land. So mining and quarrying. So for these activities, the mining and quarrying activities, these are also responsible for loss of vegetal cover, and this is denudation. So of extensive land areas leading to desertification. The deserts are found to occur in the arid and semi-arid areas of all the continents. So during the last 50 years, about 900 million hectares of the land have undergone desertification over the world. So this problem it is especially severe in Sahel region just south of the Sahara in the Africa. So this problem it is especially severe in Sahel region. So this is just south of the Sahara desert. So Sahara in the Africa. So it is further estimated that if the desertification continues at the present rate, then by 2010 it will affect the such lands which are presently occupied by 10-20% of the human population. So amongst the most badly affected areas are sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East, the Western Asia, parts of Central South America, Australia and western half of the United States. So it is estimated that in the last 550 years, human activities have been responsible for desertification of land area equal to the size of the Brazil. So here the UNEP this estimates and suggests that if you don't make sincere efforts now then very soon 63% of rangelands, 60% of rain-fed croplands and 30% of irrigated croplands, these will suffer from desertification on a worldwide scale, adding that is 60,000 kilometers of deserts every year. So that's why we have to use that is global efforts. So by using global efforts, we can reduce the deforestation and desertification of the land. So this is about causes and effects of global warming, ozone depletion layer, and deforestation and desertification. So these are the global environmental problems. So thank you so much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.